Jeremiah 33:3. The spiritual code. Call to me and I will answer you isn't merely an inspirational verse, it's a key. A spiritual code that demands conscious action, not passivity. God didn't say wait, he said call. It's a vibrational movement, a command with a certain destination. When you call, you send a frequency that heaven recognizes. True faith isn't silent. It pulsates, vibrates, and manifests in words charged with intention. Most read this verse as solace, but it's an active summons. To call is to take possession of the promise, to access the dimension of the invisible with authority. It's your spiritual identity touching the quantum field. Whoever calls aligns themselves with purpose and stops waiting for something magical to happen without their participation. To call is to connect your soul to a divine frequency that is already available. You don't just cry out with your mouth, but with emotion, with truth, with your very identity. It's this sound that moves the invisible. Behind every genuine call lies a profound vibrational decision. It's not desperation, it's positioning. Heaven responds to the sound of faith and not to the silence of doubt. The verse is a password that only works when used with intention. And whoever uses it with faith sees the reality around them transform. The silence that weighs on the soul. Some people wake up with a heavy heart and dismiss it as mere fatigue. They go to sleep with a lump in their throat and call it routine. But the body speaks what the soul can no longer articulate. The racing mind, the heavy chest, these are all spiritual alerts. There's a silent scream begging to be heard. Emotional silence is often the loudest outcry. It's where the pain that no one sees resides, but that heaven hears. When the soul falls silent, the Holy Spirit whispers. And when you begin to heed this unease, you realize it's not sadness, it's heaven calling you to a new alignment. This internal disconnect is not weakness, it's the beginning of a spiritual realignment. The emptiness we feel carries a hidden code. It says, there's something greater waiting for you. But this something needs to be accessed with a decision. Either you listen and move, or you ignore it and become ill. Each stifled emotion is a part of you asking to return. The body sabotages, faith cools, and the cycle repeats. But the moment you decide to listen to this silence, something begins. It's there that inner liberation commences. And what seemed like fatigue becomes the seed of a vibrational rebirth. Between waiting and calling. Waiting on God isn't about folding your arms. It's about trusting in motion. Many confuse faith with emotional paralysis. They say, "I'm waiting," but inwardly they are dominated by fear. Waiting without calling becomes spiritual anesthesia, and time, when not well used, steals hope. The Bible was written by people who called. They didn't wait for heaven to act first. They took possession of the promise with words, actions, and faith. Whoever calls reorganizes the invisible. Calling is declaring healing even while sick. It's summoning abundance even in the desert. It's trusting before seeing. Active faith is action, and action has a sound. It's not about shouting, but about declaring with soul. The word emitted with emotion and purpose has vibrational weight. It's in this sound that heaven moves. Waiting is static. Calling is vibrational. That's what differentiates a spectator from a protagonist of the promise. You were not created merely to endure, but to transform. And this transformation begins when you call. When you emit sound with faith, heaven responds, and that which seemed stationary begins to realign. Because the sound of decision is the password that activates the miracle. Words as prophetic tools. You are constantly calling something into being, even without realizing it. Every sentence that leaves your mouth is a vibrational declaration. When you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," you are decreeing spiritual bankruptcy. When you say, "I am healed," you are activating codes of health and restoration. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds. They are codes that shape your energetic field. And most importantly, the universe responds more to the emotion behind the phrase than to the phrase itself. What you feel when you declare something either constructs or destroys your reality. You can use your mouth as a bridge or as a barrier. You can activate miracles or fuel chaos. It all starts with what you say about yourself. Heaven aligns with those who prophesy, not those who complain. Declare what you want to experience, not what you fear. Exchange "I can't" for "I am ready." Exchange. "I am weak" for "I am strong in God." Use your words as spiritual levers. The vibration of your declarations reveals your level of consciousness. Whoever learns to declare with faith learns to live in miracles. Called as spiritual responsibility. Spiritual maturity is ceasing to outsource your transformation. It's stepping out of passive waiting and embracing vibrational authorship. Paulo Vieira says, "He who assumes transforms." And this also holds true for faith. Calling is an act of courage, not a gesture of desperation. Self-responsibility is looking inward and declaring, "I activate my own change." God cooperates with those who take a stand. He honors actions. Faith without a voice, without a decision, is merely wishful thinking. And wishful thinking doesn't move heaven. but a verbalized decision does. You are God's partner in creating your reality. He will not do for you what is your role to fulfill. Heaven responds to those who position themselves with truth and action. The difference between stagnation and a miracle lies in the courage to say, "It is I who call forth the promise." Today is the day to break free from spiritual victimhood, to move beyond "if it's God's will," and step into "I claim it." The faith that transforms is the one that understands. Heaven moves when you move, and that decision begins with a sentence. The sound that restores destinies. There are sounds that heal without words. It's the sound of vibrational decision. It's when you say, "Enough," and the heavens listen. It's the outcry that pierces barriers, not through volume, but through truth. Spiritual calls aren't pretty speeches. They are codes that unlock portals. Hannah called out before she conceived. David summoned kingdoms with songs. Elijah called down fire. Jesus called life where only death existed. They all had something in common. They didn't wait to see in order to declare. They emitted sound with faith, and the world changed. The right sound has the power to tear through realities. It alters atmospheres, shifts patterns, and restructures beliefs. It's more than a prayer. It's a decree with a soul. When you call with emotion and purpose, you release creative energy. The Bible is not a book of waiting. It's a book of purposeful verbal action. Every miracle began with a word, and every word was charged with faith. Don't wait to feel courageous to call out. Call, and courage will come along the way. Emotion and faith. The combination that activates faith without emotion is mere concept. Emotion without faith is instability. But when the two unite, a powerful magnetic field is born. Joe Dispenza teaches, the union of intention and emotion creates a new reality. Science and spirituality are already in agreement. You can repeat affirmations for years, but if you don't feel them, they won't activate. Vibration is born in feeling. That's why tears have so much power. They carry truth. When you declare with surrender, the whole body responds. The soul recognizes it. Declare with emotion, I am free, I am healed, I am loved. Not as one who repeats a ready-made phrase, but as one who already lives it internally. Repetition with emotion reprograms your mind, your body, and your spiritual field. Set aside 5 minutes. Speak to yourself with soul. Declare while looking into your own eyes, and feel each word come to life. This simple practice is a game changer. Because heaven responds first to the sound that comes from the heart. Spiritual identity revealed. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You simply need to remember. Your true identity is already there, concealed beneath layers of fear, pain, and oblivion. When you call upon it, that version returns, and with it comes clarity, strength, and inner freedom. Envision yourself standing before a spiritual mirror. In it, you see not just weariness, but the reflection of what God has already instilled within you. By declaring with faith, "I am an heir," you activate a dormant energy. The calling wipes away the dust from your essence. Rediscovering your identity is about healing parts of yourself that were abandoned in past traumas. Each recovered fragment is a spiritual cell reorganizing itself. It's not about becoming someone new, but about returning to who you were born to be. And when you align with your true essence, everything around you begins to respond. The environment shifts, cycles conclude, doors swing open, because the universe conspires with those who remember who they are. And that begins with the sound of faith. Leading with vibrational authority. Waiting for recognition is paralyzing. Those who excessively seek validation from others forfeit their inner strength. To lead is to seize control of one's own vibration. It's about taking one's seat on the inner throne and declaring, "Now I am the one who decides." God has already called you, but you must answer. Not with justifications, but with assertive presence. Not with lamentations, but with affirmations. When you perceive yourself as the leader of your own energy, passivity dies. Decision is born. Leading is not about controlling everything. It's about aligning oneself with the source and proceeding with courage. It's about living with intention, acting with awareness, and declaring with faith. It's not about ego, it's about purpose. Spiritual leadership originates in the calling heart. Right. Today I lead my life with courage and truth. Read this aloud for 7 days. Observe your posture shift, your voice become firm, your energy intensify. Because those who embrace vibrational leadership begin to govern their own destiny. The throne of the soul. There is a spiritual chair within you. In it, only you fit. Yet many live allowing fear, guilt, or doubt to sit there. To sit upon this throne is to accept the spiritual authority that God has already bestowed upon you. It is a prophetic act. Visualize yourself seated in that chair, steadfast, serene, with the Holy Spirit by your side. Feel the security, the clarity, the strength. Repeat, "I am ready, I am called, I am aligned." And perceive how something stirs within you. This internal image holds power. The mind believes in what you demonstrate with conviction. When you see yourself in command, the spiritual realm recognizes this. Heaven collaborates with those who occupy their rightful place with authenticity. Lend your throne to insecurity no more. Sit, declare, take possession. For what God has envisioned for you demands an awakened heart. The chair is already there. All that remains is for you to decide to occupy it. Calling is action, not supplication. The heavens do not answer those who implore like beggars. They answer those who declare like children of God. Faith is not destitution, it is conviction. Many pray pleadingly, but do not call out as those who already know what they carry within them, and thus they continue waiting. God does not desire eternal supplication. He desires partnership. Mature faith proclaims, "Father, I take possession because I know who I am in you." And this kind of faith activates miracles. It is not fear that transforms, but the vibrational certainty that the promise is real. Choose a verse each day. Begin with Jeremiah 33:3. Declare it with emotion. Do not simply read, but proclaim. Give sound to your faith. Say, "Today I activate my inheritance." And witness how your body, mind, and spirit respond in unison. Faith with sound changes everything. It changes the environment, attracts opportunities, reorganizes your cells. It is science and spirituality intertwined. And those who experience this know, declared faith is incarnate faith, and incarnate faith transforms everything. The miracle begins with sound. Every real change begins with a verbalized decision. You may wish for 1,000 things, but change only happens when you declare it. Sound activates the seed, and whoever plants with sound reaps transformation. It all starts with a sentence. I am no longer who I was. Today, I return to myself. Today, my voice was heard in heaven. When you speak this with truth, the heavens listen, and the world around you begins to react, because sound is vibration, and vibration molds reality. You are not watching or reading this by chance. Something within you has already begun to stir. Perhaps it was a tear, a shiver, a memory. All of these are codes. They are signs. They are calls waiting for an answer. And now it is your turn. Take a piece of paper and write, "Today, I called myself back." Paste this where you can see it every day. Because whoever calls with faith does not return empty-handed. They return complete. They return aligned. They return transformed. You weren't drawn to these words by chance. You were summoned. And that summons didn't originate externally. It came from within. It's your spiritual identity awakening, reminding you that something greater awaits you. God has already placed within you the seed of healing, abundance, and truth, but it only flourishes when you choose to call upon it. Heaven responds to those who declare, to those who take a stand, to those who emit sound with purpose. Now, write aloud. Today I unleashed my voice. Today I occupied my rightful place. Today I was heard in heaven. This is the starting point of your new reality. sound has been emitted. Heaven has already moved. Now, the world begins to respond.